So this is the time where we're going to be talking about the mobile side of the music industry and the fastest growing and what is now the most important part of anything from selling music to live to, more importantly, also growing and managing fans.
I think it's a really interesting landscape at the moment because there's been quite a big migration from the big platforms like Facebook, for instance, which if you go out to the US at the moment and talk to any kids, they'll tell you it's called mum book, because generally people don't want to grow up and find out what their identity is in front of their parents. So they've migrated to the likes of Snapchat for obvious reasons, so they can have private moments. And also, they've also migrated into the messaging apps. So whether it's Viber or WhatsApp or Kik or WeChat, Line, etc., because they can have their private moments. And it's interesting at the moment because we're in a period of experimentation, if you like, whereby these messaging apps who have huge audiences, I mean, Viber have 570 million unique users, and they are unique because it's to your mobile number. They're experimenting at the moment, these companies, to see how they can attract users, obviously, to knit with music and then expand themselves out to be a place that is welcome to brands and artists.
Richard, going to you, I mean, from an artist manager, your sole purpose is to look to increase, opportunities for your clients, create new revenue streams. How is mobile playing a part in that at the moment?
I think it's more than creating new revenue streams. The important thing for the artist is that it gives them the opportunity to connect more directly with their audience than any other device. And I think a mobile is a personal device, and kids having music on their mobile, whether they're streaming it or owning it, it's the most important place for our artists to want their music to be with their audience. I think one of the things that we're going to look to do is to further get their music into different places inside the mobile. So we're not just worried about, hey, are they listening to it on Spotify? Hey, do they own it on iTunes? Is it in a playlist? We're interested in, if they're sending someone a GIF, it being the soundtrack to that. If they're in the middle of an iChat, maybe they can throw a piece of music or a loop in at the moment that they're chatting or IMing directly or texting with somebody. So I think it's just, it allows the artist to connect more directly, and it allows the audience member to feel a greater ownership in the artist.
How do you use mobile to grow your fans, to, obviously we said, Richard, mobile for you is very important in terms of connecting directly with the fans. So I wanted to know from a Viber point of view, because, from the social messaging, this is the closest you can get, right? This is really you can maybe touch through that, right?
Yeah, well, it's interesting because Viber launched something called Public Chats in November last year, back end of last year. I don't know if you guys have actually seen it. There's actually an IMS Public Chat up and running at the moment. So if you've got your Viber app, if you actually flick to the little star button, you can get to the Public Chats. Public Chats, I guess, is Viber's effort at launching a social network, because they understand they've got direct access to 570 million people globally. And, it would be a shame not to create a much deeper relationship there. So Viber Public Chats is in beta at the moment, and it's open to selected partners that we've got on board, Pete Tong being one of them. Paul van Dyk has been on there since launch. There's also big brands like BuzzFeed, etc. If you go and have a look, you can see which tickles your fancy. But Public Chats is actually something quite unique. If anyone remembers the old chat rooms that you used to get back in the late 90s and early times, it's an interaction between a load of friends. So you're opening up the Public Chats, and you can see Paul van Dyk and all of his friends, anybody who's close to him, he can put anyone in there, and you see how they interact each other between them. And that's what I find really interesting about this, because if I've got an artist that I'm following on Twitter, for instance, and it's a band and there's 4 people in that band, I have to go to their individual platforms to look at how their personalities work and how their dynamics work between them if they happen to tweet each other. Whereas what Public Chats allows you to do is it allows an artist to show their lives, almost a little bit like snackable reality TV. And I think friends make you funnier. They make you more interesting. Everyone is better when they're with their friends. And I'm not doing a sales trick on you here. Go and check it out. Check out any of the artists, whether they're favorites of yours or not. And you will see that it's almost engrossing and addictive.
From a Samsung point of view, so you guys have tried to do music, you've been involved, for many years, and so what were the challenges and the opportunities for you to use music?
I don't think it's any secret to anybody out there that Samsung hasn't exactly been hugely successful historically in running its own music services, particularly in the UK and Europe. I'm leaving Milk outside of this slightly because I think the US company and certainly the Korean organization have seen quite significant success with that particular streaming service. But I think certainly when you're looking at an organization of the size of Samsung that employs approximately 360,000 people just within its electronics division, it becomes a very matrix business with a huge number of different stakeholders, all of whom have different areas of responsibility, but predominantly it's about selling devices and selling hardware.
There is definitely a gap between how fast technology is moving, and the reticence of the industry or the inability at this point in time of the industry to find ways to make it easier for companies like Samsung. I mean, Samsung is humongous. The amount of devices you have around the world, the opportunity is giant. I mean, for anyone, but nobody's able to make this work, and it must be frustrating, right?
No, I think you're absolutely right, and I think it's about, this is something that applies to both sides, coming into the conversation with more of an understanding of the objective of the other party and what it is they're trying to achieve, and then establishing a framework to do business that really acknowledges what both sides are trying to do. And for me, that's sort of a utopian ideal, and we're still not there yet.
Mm. Very interesting, yeah.
I mean, I think that, we're at a beginning and we have a baby set of problems. So I think that 5-10 years from now, the kinks are going to be ironed out and you're going to have content, you're going to have content ID. And whether it's coming to you through a Samsung device or whether it's coming to you through a streaming channel on a Samsung device or a download channel, or as the music comes as part of a YouTube video or as part of a GIF, at the end of the day, the artist is going to end up getting paid. So this is a series of problems that that are baby problems in the development of the mobile industry and music being in the mobile industry. And I think this is something we'll look back on and go, yeah, my God, I can't believe those idiots took that much time to solve these problems. They're just technical problems.
But there's also the fact that, iTunes was done a long time ago, and when streaming came along, we had similar issues again, and it seems to be a recurrence.
Exactly. It's a recurrence issue. It's a technology issue, and I think that as each of these new platforms comes up, the labels sit there and they argue about how much share they should get, and really our quest with the mobile device is how to best use it to benefit our artists and how to best use it to benefit our music and our clients and their long-term careers, because what we're seeing here is teething problems. And I think it's the personal ownership that the audience member feels when they have Skrillex's music that they listen to on their playlist, or that they have a Skrillex photo on their mobile, or they watch a Skrillex video. They feel ownership in that artist in a way that kids haven't felt ownership in music in 20 or 30 years. We haven't seen, there hasn't been a moment where audience members really want to engage with artists or live a lifestyle with artists in quite a time. So you used to see Clash t-shirts or AC/DC t-shirts, and kids wanted to be members of that gang. That hasn't happened in the last 20 years. Music has become very dispensable, and it's been a track-by-track issue. But I think the mobile gives you an opportunity, again, to engage. So whether you're engaging by Twitter, by music, by GIFs, by photos, the mobile should be a device by which the artist is able to talk to his own audience.
That's a great segue to Viber. And the question is, what if Viber created a music service? What would be tomorrow, what would be the challenges you think you'd face doing that? Or how would you want to do it?
What if the rights issue was resolved?
Well, let's say that's one that we're going to put on the side. But how would you approach doing that in this new era of social messaging, fast, nimble?
I think, well, it's a really difficult question, and I'm not the visionary for how Viber's music service would look, but from a personal angle, having dealt with fan engagement for so long, I'd probably make it quick and bite-sized so that people can share stuff instantly and also have some kind of a hierarchy of how my bunch of friends that I'm connected on that service recommend it back to me. But making it quick, making it easy, and making it fun. Because if you look at how people use Viber and Snapchat and all these apps, they're doodling, they're mucking around, they're creating their own mini videos, their own mini series. But music's not really a part of that at the moment, and when it is a part of it, no one's getting paid for it. Yeah. So, but I think Viber, alongside all of these companies at the moment, are exploring how music can be part of their offering. I don't know if anyone's looked at Tinder today, but you can get the Z album on Tinder, you can swipe for it. So, and it's less than getting it from iTunes. So, so everyone is exploring how music can be part of their offering. It's a period of experimentation. I'm not saying that everyone's getting it right, but these apps have massive, massive audiences. If you look at the uniques for Viber are more than Twitter. So, you know, they'd be daft not to be exploring how perhaps the best content that you can get on the planet, which is music, can fit into your offering.
That's amazing. So from the Kobalt point of view, I mean, you talking about technology, investments, etc. There has been there was a nice cover on Wired lately, and there was very publicly that you announced that, you know, a few large companies, including Google, invested in your business. How's that affecting the business? How is it gonna? What's the vision really for the future if you're getting that sort of support?
I guess Kobalt's in an interesting place because we are a music company, but we're also a tech company, and one of the only companies that is like that. I think the key values of what we're trying to do around transparency, around Kobalt doesn't actually own anything. We're a service company, so actually all the artists or writers always retain their copyrights, and we exclusively license them. But basically, I think there's a momentum we're trying to fix a lot of these problems that we're talking about. Some tech companies have invested in us because they believe that we are one of the places that's going to happen.
What a crazy industry this is. It starts in mobile. You know, the DJ opens his mobile device and does a great performance. It ends in mobile, and quite frankly, the customer experience really sucks. And it deteriorates by the day. A lot of it because of rights holders issues. You know, 2 years ago, there were no takedown notices. Now there's over 5 million processed a week between the US and UK. So the customer experience is in a very weird place right now. You get less content on SoundCloud today, although more may be uploaded, more is being taken down. You've got a fan base who's completely engaged with the artist on a performance level. You know, as great as Uptown Funk was as a track, I'm a Mark Ronson fan because of his live performances. I can't get those on my device, on my mobile device. And, you know, not to tout Dubset, because there's a lot of companies trying to resolve this right now, but I think we're going to see a wave for this industry, a really good wave, come very soon, because these rights have been resolved, and all of a sudden the very core of this industry, the live performances that build this industry to what it is, can be delivered in a very personal way to a mobile device.
Just wanted to ask everyone sort of their vision for the future, what they want the future to look like. Matt, what's for you, you know, managing, you know, thousands and thousands of rights, what's the right way to do?
I guess Kobalt's, what we'll be doing is people will be doing their entrepreneurship and finding ways to reach their fans and get music to them, and then we'll try and plug it in the pipes to actually make it flow. That's kind of Kobalt's vision. I mean, we haven't talked about what's actually going to happen. We haven't talked about ticketing or anything like that, which on mobile could be exciting. I think mobile in the future, I don't see why, when I leave the house, I'm always worried if I've got my keys, my wallet, and my phone. I don't know why in the future I'd need my keys and my wallet. And I think that's going to be exciting.
It will be one thing. What do you think? it's going to look like?
I think solving the rights issue would get us into a situation where you're no longer separating engaging with an artist and then the engaging with the music. Yeah. So the whole thing, it would blow the whole thing wide open, to be quite frank, because those companies and those platforms who are best at engaging with their fans will win, basically. And there'll be a situation that really benefits the artist, whereby you're engaging with an artist, their personality, their brand, and all of that, and you're consuming at the same time on the platform that you want to consume on. Yeah. And that's the ideal scenario for both the artists and the fans, is that anybody would have the ability to do this. It wouldn't just be a YouTube or a Spotify or wherever.
Yeah. Richard, from your side, what do you wish for your artists?
I just really, I can't wait for the moment when all of the issues are resolved and we can put our music anywhere. We know we're going to get paid for it, and everything else becomes our issue. So, when the content ID is perfect and the artist gets paid whenever his music is played anywhere, whether it's in Viber, whether it's streamed, whether it's in a DJ mix, whether it's on a Samsung phone, on a Samsung platform, I just want my artist to get paid wherever the music is, because at that point in time, it becomes my problem on what I do with the money. So if I tell my artist not to sign a record deal and a publishing deal or a PRO deal, really he should be able to collect all of that money directly and do it by being admin through somebody like Kobalt. And, life becomes easy and we can move on knowing we're getting the most we can for our art.
Yeah. Feels like the label position is being contested here.
Yeah, I think the label position is contested. The publisher, to an extent, is contested. The PRO is contested. I think everyone else is contested apart from art and IDing it. And when the art is used, the artist gets paid. What happens in the middle is just, as I said, it's kind of been an amateur mess how we've worked it out. I just can't wait for the moment when it doesn't need to be worked out any longer, when it's sorted and when the artist gets paid whenever his art is used.